Good evening and a very warm welcome to all of you on behalf of Women Ophthalmology Society Gujarat chapter. We are extremely privileged to have eminent speakers with very background and very experienced panelists. Dr. Nutan ma'am from Baroda, Dr. Chaitra ma'am from Bangalore, Dr. Tejas Pai will join us in a few minutes from Ahmedabad. Before we start, I'll request Dr. Purvi Bhagat to please say a few words, who is head of our Gujarat chapter WOS, and she's a professor at a prestigious M&J Institute. Please, over to you, Purvi ma'am.
Thank you, Dr. Shilpi. And on behalf of the Gujarat chapter of the Women Ophthalmologists Society, I welcome you all to this webinar. And on this day, I would also like to wish everybody a very happy Teachers' Day, because even though we are not medical teachers, all of us keep teaching and learning from each other all through the life. So very happy Teachers' Day to all. And when we talk of teaching and teachers, the basic concept is to share the knowledge. So knowledge gained alone is not enough. We need to share and spread it further. And it is also important that the knowledge you gain has to be expressed and presented well. So whether you present your information through a video, through a poster, through a podium presentation, or through an article publication, it has to be expressed very, very well. And that is the basic concept of this webinar for today. And I assure you it's not only going to be very, very useful, but it's going to be refreshingly different and interesting. So once again, a warm welcome to you all. And again, I hand over to the moderators of today, Dr. Shilpi and Dr. Monica Jitani, to begin the session. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Dr. Purvi ma'am. Now I'd like to introduce Dr. Swati Kumar, and I would like to thank her specially for chipping in at last moment as Dr. Mohita ma'am is unwell and she's unable to join us today. Dr. Swati ma'am is a cornea and a cataract specialist, and she's director at Swanetra Eye Hospital, Jaipur. She's one of the leading role player in Women Ophthalmology Society. Please, over to you, Dr. Swati ma'am.
Thank you so much, Gujarat chapter and Shilpi and Purvi. I know that I've been pitching a little late, and I would just keep a little be on time and keep a track on time, and just tell you a little brief about what Women Ophthalmologist Society is and where we are today, and what all it's doing. We all know that this corona thing has shaken the world, and it does have a huge psychological and economic impact apart from the health impact that we face. WOS started with a small beginning 4 years back, and till today we have 1,400 members with 16 state chapters, and this is the fastest growing society in India. We conducted several workshops, several conferences, and other state chapter webinars throughout India. And the first one was in Delhi, the second in Jaipur, the annual conference. The third was in Hyderabad, the fourth by Chaitra, who's one of the panelists here in Bangalore. And they were all attended very well. The unique programs, the first time ever that was introduced were the mentor life surgeries by young ophthalmologists or budding ophthalmologists, the International Women Heroes Award, which started in Hyderabad, the Inspiration Session also started in Hyderabad. And again, women in research and innovations. There are several motivational talks, the leadership program, state competitive sections, and we do a lot of work in women's health. This is about the mentored life surgeries that we see here. And again, we have a very important International Women Heroes Session Award that was given in Hyderabad. And a special mention of the mentor-mentee program, which is headed by our own Purvi from Gujarat's state head. And she has just now, a month back, started a very special mentor-mentee program with a TET-TT, like with one mentor and 2 or 3 mentees, and they kind of mentor the whole mentees individually or personally, which has a lot of impact. There are several PG programs, and then we have practice skill management, the research and the skill, and again the women in research. The most important thing is that I want to share with you here is the Women Ophthalmologists Worldwide, which is a new society which came up and launched on 18th of July 2020 this year. So this was a bright shining moment of the corona times, and this was to support equity of all ophthalmologists from all around the world. So there were about 26 countries which joining together for a webinar, and finally this was launched as Women Ophthalmologists Worldwide. This is for community collaboration, outreach and networking, and connecting women across the globe. So the aims of this society is to support development with sister organizations all over the world and strengthen the leadership and education. And there are several activities that we are going to plan through this, and these are the webinars that we are going to have it quarterly every year with a lot of combined and collaborative research and academic activities, and one international conference every year. The first one we are trying to have it in India by the end of next year if everything is fine. And so I would like to invite all of you to join us at WOW, the first Women Ophthalmologists Worldwide. And as I say, WOS is not only an organization, it's an organization of each one of us, which has lots and lots of opportunities everywhere. It has lots and lots of scope for every women and every, in fact, male advisors also. So this is what I'm quoting with Dr. Mohita's slide is, two roads diverged in a wood and I took the one less traveled, and that has made all the difference. So I would like to thank the WOS committee members, the executive committee members, our president, Dr. Madhu, and Dr. Mohita, on whose behalf I'm here today, I'm speaking today. So all the best for this Gujarat chapter, and thanking all of you for having me here. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Swati ma'am, for your inspiring speech. It was really nice. So it's rightly said that rise above the storm and you will find the sunshine. I am really privileged to introduce our guest speaker, Dr. Viraj Vasavda. She actually needs no introduction. She is well known among all of us. But just to say in brief, she did her MS Ophthalmology from prestigious Institute of BJ Medical College, and she's a fellow of Raghudeep Eye Hospital. She is a consultant phaco-refractive surgeon at Raghudeep Eye Hospital and Sudhalkar Eye Hospital. She has grabbed innumerable awards at many national and international conferences. So who better than Dr. Viraj Vasavda for speaking on topic of rising again? In spite of everything, I shall rise again. Over to you, Dr. Viraj.
Just before you begin, Dr. Viraj, actually, I would like to say something for her, that we have actually had lots of inspirational stories heard throughout our lifetimes. You know, every webinar or every platform, we try to get something inspirational from each incident and each stories. And you know, these inspirational stories are like mainly professional, like people who have risen from something, from nothing to something, or there have been battles of survival. Whereas the incidents that has happened here is, it's a combination of everything. And especially for her, when it was like nothing from something. And I would rather call Viraj as the Phoenix lady, you know, who had a beautiful life, and like the phoenix bird, that is, it was blown almost to ashes. And now with all her determination and spirit and courage, she has again risen to being herself. So thank you, Viraj, for being with us today and for serving as such a great source of inspiration to all of us.
Hi, hi everybody. Hear me?
Yes, Viraj. We all
Yeah, okay. Thank you. Puri madam, first of all, many thank you for letting me speak. Really, I am privileged. Yeah. Please bear with me. Voice, listen here. Okay. So my friends, colleagues, all of them, gratitude for all of them, for supporting me. And I am, uh, I know that reason ashes. I feel that, yes. I am zero actually. 2 years, it's still struggling, but strong. Yeah. And stroke happened to me one day, and suddenly zero. Slowly, I am trying to rise. So, my friends, thank you for encouraging me so much. So, a challenge is daily, uh, both, all of them challenges daily. See that, but uh, challenges, I like challenges. And so I am up to that. Uh, Move on, and then, sorry. I like to narrate you all of my story is all of that lived aside. My life is now track. So I am grateful to family and teachers and physiotherapists, speech, all of them. I am still learning. But so, chapter 1, I feel that experience live, I am able to experience, and that patient I am also now. Patients, all of them, my family now. And I feel that counseling is must. Patients need counseling. And counseling lady, maybe doctor and patients link up, need link up. I feel so. Doctor says same old listening, okay, leave it. And doctor and patient hear, but are bolutsu. So my friends, link up is vital. Girl example, you designate, and three 3 hours needed only, and counseling is must. So, my friends, example, I describe that uh, corotoconus, uh, RPE, stroke, paralyze, all of them. Sailing boat, one boat, and vision so less, but still, uh, I need habilitation. So please, Braille, learn on the another activity, drawing, furniture, so on. Please learn the other activity. And vision is so less. So what? Other activity, please go on. And then uh, challenges, never lose hope. Mind you, never lose hope. My feeling is never lose hope. And doctors especially try to motivate patient, especially. Never lose patient. Yeah. So, chapter 2. So, my friends, I love research, passionate about research. I belong passionately, but writing and reading are now problem. But please, small effort needed. Friends, colleagues, all of them, please, mm, effort is needed. Small effort, 3 days, uh, the- 3 days, and maybe 3 minutes. So what? So counts, research is must. All of them, mind you. And uh, I feel that uh, research or call all colleagues or seniors, please help me, or so on. It's so more small case present. Little, by the time 2, 3, uh, move. And I think so, fruits bearing will be bearing. So I am uh, example of research is must. Okay. 3, chapter 3. Please enjoy. Moment is no moment capture. Yes. Small joys. Please enjoy. And food example, I enjoy. Drawing, okay, dancing, various form, but enjoy activity. Small joys is a long way. I realize that now. So my friends, keep it up. And last advice on advice, no advice, but my message, my strong message is that you enjoy and perseverance. Perseverance a long way ahead. Please give it up. No. Give it up or depressed. Oh, no. Strong lady, all of that. And strong lady, all of them. So keep it up. And thank you so much, Purivi madam. Shilpi also, rest all. Thank you so much, and thank you, and adios, my friends. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Viraj, for being with us today and sharing your incredibly inspiring
No.
No,
Actually,
it
what
was really heart touching. And we
No.
see your fighting spirit and your patience and perseverance. Lots of love and best wishes to you, Dr. Viraj.
Yeah, thank you so much.
actually the key messages that you have given, people take years and years to realize those
Yes.
things, learn those messages.
Yes. I am example, First one. Yeah.
Viraj, today you have been a real teacher for
No.
our
Thank
Teachers'
you.
Day.
Yeah,
Happy
thank you. Thank you.
Once again,
Okay.
thank you, Viraj.
Yeah, okay. Thank you.
Our next speaker is Dr. Sajni Shah. She did her cataract and anterior segment fellowship under the legendary Dr. Abhay Vasavda and has been part of his team as a consultant with special interest in pediatric cataract for nearly 12 years. She has had a rich research experience during her tenure at Raghudeep Eye Hospital and has got several publications under her name. She is currently director at Stavan Eye Clinic and Srirang Eye Hospital in Ahmedabad. She'll tell us how to design an effective research protocol. Over to you, Dr. Sajni.
Thank you, Shilpi. Just a minute. I'm doing share screen. Just a minute. Yeah. Is it okay? Can everybody see the screen?
It is still loading, Sajni.
Yeah. I think it's visible. Yeah, it will come. It will take 1-2 minutes. Here it is seeing my
Not
screen.
seen. No.
Just a minute. Just a minute.
Ma'am, click on stop share.
Yeah.
Yeah,
किया मैंने.
then click on share screen button. First of all, stop share.
Okay. Then stop sharing. Yes.
Yeah, ma'am, click on share screen button, then click on first option screen.
I will click first to share screen, right?
First of all, click on share screen button, then click on first option
Yes.
screen.
Which is the first option.
Yeah, click on first option screen and then click on share button.
Yeah. Wait a minute. I think there is some internet issue. Just a minute.
Can we
Now
move?
it is coming.
Yeah.
Sajni ma'am, we are not able to see still. Purvi ma'am, should
Can we
we?
move on?
Give me.
Yeah, can we?
Monica.
Yeah, please. Okay. So we gave some time to Sajni ma'am so that her problem is solved. We move on to our next speakers. I said speakers because both of them will be presenting together, Dr. Neha Jain and Dr. Nisha Chauhan. All of us are interested in research. We want to do research and, you know, we want to get it published. But it's not, hello? Hello?
Yes, yes, you are audible.
Yeah. But at times it becomes very difficult to get grants.
Sajni, can you mute yourself in the meantime?
Yeah.
So actually,
Just a minute.
it becomes really difficult to get a project grant, right? So I think Mohita ma'am has been very instrumental in helping all of us out to get the project grant. So we have two of her cornea fellows, Dr. Nisha and Dr. Neha, who will be talking about gain a project grant. Over to you.
Hello, good evening. I'm Dr. Neha and with me is Dr. Nisha. We'll be presenting on how to gain a project grant. So Women Ophthalmologists Society has been doing a lot of research for which the WINA was launched, that is a Women in Research Network, which has two arms, which is the clinical research and the molecular research. Under this, a lot of closed door meetings have been held in the WOS annual conferences where the presenters, they present their ideas in the front of a panel of experts who help them modify their protocols, their research methodologies, sample size and everything, so that the researchers can come forward, present their ideas and get started on how to do research and what all they need to do. There's also an ethics committee at WOS which is registered and helps in statistical support and ethical clearance for the presenters. 3-4 centers in India have biorepositories also, which is approachable to WOS members to participate in molecular research. So basically, when we started doing research, what we realized is that we wanted to do research, but there is one thing which holds us back, and that is the funds. We need those grants so that we have the money to cover part of or all of the expenses. And whether we get that grant or not depends on whether our goals and purpose matches with the priorities of the funding agencies. So with this question, we started to look around where are those places where we can look for grant. So these are some of the options that we have, that is the DBT, DST, ICMR and the pharma companies. But whenever we are trying to see which grant we should apply for or whether we are eligible for it or not, we should go to the website and we have to look at the eligibility criteria and see what our project is offering and what they actually demand. So with this in mind, we went to this particular website, which is the dst.gov.in, that is the Department of Science and Technology. Now they have a lot of schemes, like for example, the Women Scientist schemes, which provides opportunities and encourages women scientists who have break in their career to come forward and start doing research. For this, announcement was also made for the women ophthalmologists with 2 years of break in their career to send in proposals so that they can get started with the research work. The Women Scientist Scheme, there are 3 types, WOS-A, WOS-B and WOS-C. WOS-A is for carrying out research in basic and applied sciences. WOS-B is for research purposes which revolve around societal benefit. And WOS-C is for internship in the IPR, that is the intellectual property. So when we came across this, we came across also the qualifications and the eligibility criteria. So we basically sat down and saw what all they are offering and what we actually want to do in our research project, so that when we apply for a particular grant, we are sure that we fall in the criteria, and that is how we can get passed through the screening process. Because if we do not fulfill the criteria, then there is no point submitting in a particular proposal. So here, like I have shown in a table, the various schemes, what are the qualifications they require out of us, what is the amount of total cost of the project which they sanction, and the amount of fellowship money which the applicant gets. So we started looking for the proposal. So like for example, this is the call for research proposal for the particular WOS-B project, which revolves around the societal benefit, which was launched this year. Now another example is the Satyam project, which basically revolves around how yoga can cause effect and changes in a particular systemic condition. So this has not been done by ophthalmologists before. So we have submitted 3 projects under Satyam also, where we would intend to study the effect of yoga on particular eye conditions. Similarly, because these are the COVID times, Satyam had also launched a special COVID announcement for if you want to study effect of yoga in these COVID times. So we have applied for projects under Satyam also and under Satyam special call for COVID also, and all the processes have been screened, have been cleared in the first screening and are underway. So we have Dr. Nisha with us today, who has presented in the WOS-B, who has applied for the WOS-B scheme, and she'll be telling us about what all she has been through and what all she wrote in the proposal, which helped her in getting the project. Nisha?
Thank you, Dr. Neha. Good evening, everyone. So I'm going to give you a sneak peek into the proposal form for the DST and the Women Scientist Scheme. So this is the first page of the application form. First of all, we have to choose our subject code, as doctors are in health department. So our subject code is subject code 2. Then we have to make sure we fit into the eligibility criteria or not. In my case, it was a minimum 2-year break in the career. So I had a long maternity break in career, so I was fitting into the eligibility criteria. So whenever you apply for any scheme for grants, you have to check whether you fit into the eligibility criteria or not. Otherwise there are chances that the application form will be rejected. Next. So there are 2 sections in the proposal form. There's a section A and there's a section B. Section A is the general information of the applicant, some personal details and the academic details. And then comes the section B. Next. So section B has 4 parts. One is first is a project detail, second is a technical details, third is the detail of host institution where you will be carrying out the research, and fourth is the financial details. So coming to the first part, that is project details. First of all, you have to decide the title of the project. Your title should be very loud and clear. It should not be unambiguous. It should reflect to the key idea of the project and your focus. Then comes the duration of your study. You have to mention your study duration in months. Most of these projects have a duration of 1 to 3 years. So you have to make sure that your study duration does not exceed that particular scheme. While deciding for the duration of your study, you have to keep in mind all the steps like patient recruitment and the collection of data analysis, and statistical analysis, and then you have to decide the total duration in months. That total duration should be sufficient to carry out your particular research. In the end, you have to give the total estimate of the cost of project in rupees. So always keep in mind the maximal permissible limit of the scheme you are applying to. Then come the technical details. So you have to write the summary of the proposal, which should not exceed 500 words. And this is a very important part. When you decide for the topic of the research, do a thorough internet search, do a PubMed search, make a team, and always make a rough draft, then discuss with your colleagues, discuss with your seniors. In my case, Dr. Neha and Dr. Mohita ma'am helped me a lot, and keep on refining your proposal before finalizing it. Then you have to mention whether your research is going to develop any technology, or is it going to improve any existing technology, or is it going to validate any existing technology. Then you have to emphasize on your particular scheme. In my case, it was WOS-B scheme. So I had my main emphasis on societal benefit. Next. So once you finalize the proposal, you have to be very clear why you want to do your research. How is this? How is the particular problem which you are going to address is affecting your society? How will your research benefit that particular problem? Who are the target beneficiaries from your research outcome? What is the need for this particular research work? How is it different from what already has been done in this particular field? Is it, are you going to develop any new technology? And then you have to mention about the references to support your proposal and all the statistical methods which you are going to use to analyze your data. This part of the proposal was very important in my case, because in my case WOS-B scheme has a criteria of societal benefit. So I had to mention the details of the societal component of my research. Again, you have to mention, I had to mention the significance of the expected outcome with respect to the benefit to the society. So the third part is details of the host institution. I applied to the Women of Health Society. So I'll be doing my research in Tirupati Eye Center under the mentorship of Dr. Mohita Sharma ma'am. So I had to provide the details of the institution and my mentor. This is the last part, but the most important part, we have to provide the details of the budget. So you have to be very practical in providing your expenses. Never exaggerate your expenses, be very real. Because at the end of the study, you will be asked to provide the bills of all the expenses. So you will be given only what you ask for. So be very practical in your budget. So the first part of the budget is research fellowship, which is the stipend which will be given monthly to the applicant. And then there are consumables. Suppose you have to carry out any investigation. So what all the consumables which will be used, like syringes, reagents, or any other thing, you have to keep in mind, and you have to present the estimated bill. Third part is travel within India. Suppose the applicant has to travel to any other part of the India for presenting the research project in any conference, or suppose if it is a multi-centric study and the whole team needs to gather to discuss about the research project. So you have to mention about all those travel expenses. Then there are contingency expenses like any stationery, or if there is any other expected expenses, then you can mention it here. If there are any other costs like the field testing in case of your research, or any demonstration of the research project, then you can mention the expenses here. Always mention the expenses first per patient, and then whatever is your sample size, always calculate the total expense so that you know the whole expenses. In the last part, you have to, if there is any equipment which you will be needing in your research, mention the generic name of the equipment and the estimated cost of that equipment. In the end, you have to give the total of the expenses. So just to summarize, you have to present a very logical and structured proposal. You have to be very clear in your communication. It should be very concise. You should explain what you want to do, why you want to do it, and how you plan to do it. Always justify your budget, why you need all these expenses. Explain why it is important to do what you are planning to do, what benefit it is going to add to the existing knowledge. And this seems to be, this application process very long and elaborate. So never wait for the last date. Always apply early, start early, So always keep an eye on the opening date of submission rather than waiting for the last date of submission. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Dr. Neha and Dr. Nisha, for an excellent insight into how to gain a research grant. It will, I'm sure, greatly help the candidates who are shaping their career in research. Thank you. Now, Dr. Sajni for her first talk on designing a research protocol. Dr. Sajni?
Yeah, is screen visible? I will keep my video off. I think it will help to, yeah, is this screen visible to all?
Not yet, Sajni.
Give me a minute.
Now,
Is it?
No, Sajni ma'am, it's not visible yet.
Oh my God.
Ma'am, stop share. Stop share screen.
Done?
Then
Yeah.
मैम स्टॉप नहीं किया आपने शेयर स्क्रीन. या मैम अब किया आपने. मैम शेयर स्क्रीन पे क्लिक कीजिए. क्लिक करने के बाद जो फर्स्ट ऑप्शन है ना मैम स्क्रीन, उस पे क्लिक कीजिए और फिर उसके बाद शेयर पे क्लिक कीजिए जो ब्लू कलर का बटन है. या मैम आप स्लाइड शो कीजिए आप.
ओके.
मैम आप स्लाइड शो कीजिए प्लीज. मैम क्लिक कीजिए इस बटन पे.
Yourself on mute, I suppose.
Huh. Now can you see all the screen?
The screen and presentation is visible, Sajni, but you need to make it full screen. Slideshow.
Yeah. Okay.
बॉटम ऊपर राइट साइड पर सब देखा सकते हैं.
हाँ, एक मिनट मैं कया कंप्यूटर पर छू. Okay. Is it okay now?
ના, હજી સ્લાઇડ શો નથી ચાલુ થયો.
Please just click wherever your arrow is. No, just click on that. It will go into slideshow. Your arrow is in the correct place.
See here, slideshow is showing.
Your arrow is on correct place. Click on that.
You go ahead with other presentation. I will switch over to other computer.
Ma'am, please approve me. I am remote controlling of your laptop. Please approve.
Purvi ma'am, can we move to Dr. Devyani?
I think Mr. Rahul is managing a remote control of the device, so it will be okay.
Okay.
Yeah. Are you doing it, Mr. Rahul?
Yeah, ma'am, I am doing.
Okay.
But her device is stuck, ma'am.
Okay.
So that's I'm unable to do anything else.
Okay. Then I
will
can
switch over to other computer. You go ahead with other presentation.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay, Monica, please.
Yeah. So our next speaker is Dr. Devyani. We have a little change in the schedule because she is a speaker at other conference also at 6 p.m. So she has to leave. So Dr. Devyani Gadre is a postgraduate from prestigious institutes like BJ Medical College, and she did her postgraduation from Shankar Nethralaya, Chennai, and she did her cornea fellowship. For last 4 years, she has been cornea and refractive surgeon at Gadre Eye Care Center in Rajkot. Ever since her school days, she has been a very impressive speaker. She has participated as speaker and even headed multiple instruction courses in varied topic over the past 2 years. Recently, her video Fluorescein and Ode to Humble Stain has been awarded the best video by Young Physician at ASCRS 2020 annual meeting. Her areas of special interest include lamellar keratoplasties, ocular surface disease, and ophthalmic photography. And her topic for today is produce an award-winning video. Over to you, Dr. Devyani.
Thank, uh, thank you so much, ma'am, for the kind of introduction. And I'll share my screen now. Is my screen visible?
Yes, it's visible.
Okay, excellent.
Just do it full screen.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So making an award-winning video, what I have learned so far from the masters, and so basically what makes me qualified to talk about this, as ma'am said previously, we won the award for best video by a young physician recently, and I'm just sharing the experience that I had during the 3 months of working on that video. I'm not a tech whiz. If I can do it, so can you. Good news for all the movie buffs like me out there. It really helps when you're making a video if you are a movie buff. But at the end of the concept is always king. A bit about why you should make a video, because it presents a unique opportunity for you to express yourself in multiple ways and gives you greater freedom. Not all ideas that you have are original, and not all ideas can translate into original research. Also, ophthalmology is a uniquely suited specialty for any visual medium. There can be multiple types of videos that you can make. When you think about making a video, the first thing should not be, I want to win an award. The first thing should be, I have this excellent idea. And what kind of video will suit your idea is what you need to decide. So it could be an entirely animated video like the ones that Dr. Graham Barrett shows us, beautiful out of this world animations. It could be surgical wizardry that is, you know, the focus of your video, and you could actually really focus on the quality of your surgical videos. It could be a documentary style video where you're talking to multiple people, where you have live action footage apart from eye videos, or it could be a demonstrative video, which I was able to see at ESCRS 2019. One of the videos that won was something which was a very simple concept of various pupilloplasty techniques, all being demonstrated with a small handheld device that was actually just a model of the pupil. So how can you make an international quality video? An international quality video will definitely require you to have a rock solid idea. Go all out with that idea. If you have faith in your idea, then get professional help with editing if you're not good at it, but don't be shy. Put entire weight of your efforts behind your concept. A very well thought out script is essential, I think, to making a good quality video. What do I mean by an idea? Having an idea alone is not enough. You need to then expand upon the idea, because usually all the competition videos are generally 8-minute videos. In the world of WhatsApp forward videos, I feel we'd have zero patience to look through 8 minutes of anything. So if you want to make a viewer or a juror to sit through your entire video, you need to make it catchy and interesting. You need to reel the viewer in. So you need to decide what kind of video you want, and then work on the script for that. Weave a story and create a background over which your video will kind of be able to shine. It has to have a take-home message. Unless and until the viewer takes home something from your video, really there's no point to making one. Your idea also needs to mature. What I mean by that is that your concept is actually going to take you on a journey. My concept was about fluorescein staining on the ocular surface, and I went from this small strip of fluorescein to this 30-second clipping from my video that I would like to present. So basically, we went from a strip of fluorescein to going into the background, chemistry background of fluorescein. So when I say that your concept needs to mature, trying to say is that we started in 2017 when we presented a very rudimentary homemade 2-minute video at Colloquium 2017, and Dr. Savda sir, I was very fortunate that he liked what we had presented, and he told me that you need to work on this concept, and the concept is good, but it needs to be presented in a more professional manner. And so we went from talking about, we went from this kind of a screen where we just used Van Gogh's painting Starry Nights as our inspiration, to this video where so we took the concept and we changed it. It will metamorphosize over a period of, it will metamorphosize, and you need to give it that time. So don't do anything in a hurry. Your script is your backbone of any video. So what usually happens is you have an excellent surgical video and you go ahead and you watch the video and basically write a script on the basis of the video that you have. I suggest you do it the other way around. Watch your video, even if it's a surgical video where you're not going to be able to I'm sorry. Am I audible? Right. Sorry for the trouble. Yeah. So your script is basically the backbone. The spoken word needs to be focused upon rather than the written word, and work on the script, because we worked on the script for at least 2 months before we actually started making the video. Make the video on the basis of
morning
not the other way around.
Aditya, 5 minutes.
What went into our video is there was a lot of live action video, slit lamp videos were there, a lot of slit lamp photographs were taken, hours of working on the script. So I personally feel if you want to make a video for an international conference, give yourself at least 3 months to work on the video. This is an article that is freely available online on the AAO website. I think it really beautifully summarizes what all I've been trying to say. Start with a very good content and concept. Record as many videos as possible, because when you sit down to actually put them together, you will require more clips than you realize. Mercilessly edit out things. You might feel that, oh, this particular piece is essential to your video, but you will realize that it's really not. Narrate loudly and clearly if you are the one doing it. Modulate the voice. If you feel that you're not able to do justice to the content, please feel free to get a professional voiceover. It's not that expensive, but it really elevates the quality of your video. Use text very strategically in the video to guide what you are trying to show the viewer. Watch a lot of videos. A lot of videos are there available on ASCRS, ESCRS websites, and are even on YouTube. They're excellent quality, and you can actually strive to live up to them. You can make it more memorable by putting your 2 cents of creativity into it. And let's just put everything in it and then hope that the judges resonate with the idea that you have. I'd like to acknowledge the team that really is behind everything that I do. And thank you so much. If we have time, I have a snippet of our video to be presented. Ma'am, do we have time to watch the video? If not, I can just stop here.
No, Devani, you can go ahead. You can go ahead.
Okay. Yeah. Thank you.
The authors had no financial interest in the subject matter of the video. Beauty happens in the everyday. Beauty is all around us. We just need enough. Fortunately for us all,
Devani, can you increase the volume?
Sure. I'll do that.
we approach the eye like an old piece. Even the ones ravaged by disease seem haunting.
Is that better?
When I first
I mean, not exactly.
No?
That's okay.
Okay. Is it better now? It's at the maximum that I have on my computer. Let me just try and...
The authors have no financial interest in subject matter.
Maybe you can speak along with the video.
Just give me 1 minute, ma'am. I think on Zoom I need to change a few settings. I'll put my mic at the thing. That's not how it works through. Yeah.
The authors have no financial interest in the subject matter of this video.
Is it better now?
Yes, loud and clear. Thank you.
Okay.
Beauty happens in the everyday. Beauty is all around us. You just need an eye for it. Fortunately for us ophthalmologists, the eye itself is our muse. We approach the eye like an art piece. Even the ones ravaged by disease seem hauntingly beautiful.
When I first saw Vincent van Gogh's painting The Starry Night, I didn't think of the night or the sky in the conventional way. What struck me about the painting was how similar it looked to a fluorescein stained parched ocular surface of a dry eye patient. It is amazing to me how two people completely different in terms of their era and their training could see similar patterns and colors in totally different things. We as modern day clinicians tend to take things for granted. We forget that we are standing on the shoulders of 2 centuries of medical experience and scientific research. Fluorescein is one such piece of wisdom passed down to us through the ages.
Fluorescein by itself is a fascinating substance. It's a piece of magic at your fingertips. A red-orange vital dye, it is known in chemistry circles as fluorescein sodium. A member of the xanthine group of dyes, it is a highly fluorescent chemical compound synthesized from the petroleum derivatives resorcinol and phthalic anhydride. The dye was first synthesized in 1871 by Adolf von Baeyer, who later received the Nobel Prize in Chemistry for his work in organic dyes. The fascinating property of fluorescein is that it absorbs blue light with peak excitation at wavelengths between 465 to 490 nanometers, and in turn emits light at yellow-green wavelengths of 520 to 530 nanometers. This phenomenon is fluorescence. It is a form of luminescence. The eye, apart from being a thing of incredible beauty, is also a complex, delicate optical system, and essential to its optimal functioning is the first refractive surface, the precorneal tear film. The tear film is the silent and unseen hero responsible for our vision. Fluorescein staining makes it prominent. Its assessment possible. Fluorescein not only shows us the health of the tear film, it shows its disease too. Helps us decipher why a quiet eye with adequate tears is still in pain. The instability of the tear film may be the cause. The unstable tears may indicate mucin-deficient dry eyes, or they may highlight the altered lipids in an evaporative dry eye, leading to toxic tears, which add to the inflammatory cycle that is at the core of the dry eye disease. An eye with severe dry eye due to primary or secondary Sjogren syndrome cries out for attention via the fluorescein. Without ocular surface staining, one cannot understand the extent of the disease and its severity. Fluorescein can be essential for the complete ophthalmic assessment of a normal subject as well. It will highlight the tear meniscal mires and help us assess the intraocular pressure. The versatility of the stain is such that it can at appropriate times give us a glimpse of the past, and on other occasions help us anticipate the future. It may tell you exactly how many cuts the cornea suffered when a broken glass hit it, and how the contour of the cornea altered, and also be able to anticipate any problems that subtle graft-host junction irregularity can cause you in your grafted patient, like a warning of incoming trouble. It doesn't always have to be a positive stain that clinches the diagnosis. When a patient with a failed graft keeps complaining of watering, a simple touch of Fluorescein will reveal the bulla that's stirring up all the trouble. Take a look at this infiltrate, which on first look appears to be an innocuous marginal keratitis, secondary to lid margin disease. A dab of Fluorescein tells you, look closely, my friend, things are not always as they seem. First impressions can be lethal. What looks like a large suture-related infiltrate, the lack of an epithelial defect on Fluorescein makes me rethink my original assumption. A gentle reminder of the old history of stromal viral keratitis in this patient. This simple test helps me get away with this scar at the end of the intensive antiviral therapy. Our job isn't always complex. It can be taking care of the obvious. It's obviously a metallic foreign body sitting on the cornea staring at you. But then there are times when the cornea looks clear to the eye. But Fluorescein will highlight those fine scratches that prompt you to look beneath the upper lid and hunt for the elusive foreign body. The lids leave their imprint on the cornea in other ways as well. The superior corneal staining will indicate the presence of mast cell engorged papillae, waiting to breach the corneal epithelium, leading to a Shields ulcer if not treated aggressively. Aggressive treatment, with not just medical but surgical means as well, may be warranted in a chemical injury that presents with an ocular surface so globally devoid of epithelial cover. Fluorescein will also help show us signs of good healing. It will also remind us to pay attention to not just the cornea, but to the conjunctival insult as well, while reassuring us with concave healing edges for defects responding well to topical medications. Chronic chemical injury sequelae would need one to perform limbal transplants. Fluorescein will aid in their post-operative assessment as well. A well-epithelialized surface at day 8 will be as good as a pat on the back for a job well done. A patient presenting with a shallow anterior chamber with guttering peripheral corneal ulceration can lead to a suspicion of a leak. When even the forced Seidel's test turns out negative, it is a relief for both the doctor and the patient. On the other hand, a corneal infiltrate that seems to have healed well may have a leaking fistula that won't be indicated by anything but the Seidel's test, showing you a gush of fluid causing the Fluorescein to wash out.
Hindu and Buddhist lore for long have had the concept of the third eye. According to scripture, Lord Shiva has 3 eyes. The right eye is the sun, the left one is the moon, and the third eye is at the middle of the forehead. It is believed that he uses the third eye to see beyond the apparent and protect the good ones from the evildoers. All the evil and ignorance will vanish as the third eye opens. It is the eye of wisdom and knowledge. Fluorescein staining helps us see exactly what we need to, a bit like the Lord Shiva's third eye of wisdom. Mythological metaphors aside, the human eye is a perfect combination of complexity married to simplicity. Fluorescein ensures that our assessment lives up to this profound work of art and gives it the care it so richly deserves. I think I've taken up a lot of your time. Thank you so much.
Dr. Devyani, wonderful video. I have a small question for you. I mean, did you do the editing on your own or did you take a professional help?
Yeah, so the medical part of the whole thing where we did the slit lamp videos and photographs, all that editing was done by us. Putting it together was done by us. Parts of it we have asked the professional help. We did a professional voiceover as well because I was simply not able to get the modulation right.
Why I'm asking the question is, I wish to know how much did you spend for making this video, because actually that's really important.
Yes, I agree. So if you look at basically this was done for me as a favor by my friend. So I really would, I'm not in a position to answer truthfully, but with my own experience, but what I have heard is it can go up to 1 lakh.
Yeah, that I know, but then, okay, any opinion from the panelists? Chaitra ma'am?
Yeah, so I don't know if you know that at our institute we do have a lot of, we do make a lot of videos and many of them are award-winning. So there is a spectrum to it. Okay, so from what Devyani did, of course, it had a lot of, professional touches to it. And as ophthalmologists, it's impossible for us to come up with something so creative. Not that we're not creative, we just don't have the tools to it. But having said that, we do have a lot of our fellows who work on just, movies, iMovies on the Mac, and you can make excellent videos. And it's just a matter of learning. You know, I have made my own surgical, videos as well, and they've come really well. It's just that we need to, learn some of these tricks, and Devyani has listed them out quite well. Otherwise, at our center, we do have a multimedia team who help us with the animation. And especially when you're doing surgical videos, the animations are a big help, because you want to show how you put in the sutures, how you're inserting it, how you're doing your CCC. So that is something where you would need help. Otherwise, I think surgical videos, especially for our conferences, small clips, perfectly possible for you to do it on your own as well. Just use the different software that are available. My favorite is iMovies, which is on my Mac. You get excellent templates.
Yes, very well said, Chaitra. That was true, because we can't spend even 10,000. 1 lakh is too far. Why should we?
Yeah,
that's the question usually. Why should we?
Yes,
and normally, yeah, we would like to highlight the surgical points.
Most of the time, award-winning videos are the ones who have been edited professionally. However well we do it, it will not win. So it has to be edited professionally, and I knew this thing that it requires approximately ₹1 lakh, and that is why I put up this question.
Yeah, actually, so what I've realized after working with the professionals as well is that it's not really about their editing skills. To be very honest, it's their approach. So you have to learn that approach. If you focus on the script before you focus on actually putting the video together, I'm sure we really don't require a professional editor also. As ma'am very rightly said, iMovies, Wondershare, etc. Multiple softwares are available, and they are very easy to use. If nothing works, then YouTube has a lot of tutorials to work with these softwares as well. So,
exactly. And I must say, Monica, that a couple of videos that I have won, I have made myself. So I'm telling you, it's not mandatory, but I agree that at least I would say 50 to 60% of videos which win, chronically, so to say, are professionally made videos. With help. But then, you know what, it's never difficult to learn. I'm pretty sure that with a little bit of tutorials, I'm sure the youngsters are very tech savvy. I'm sure they can do it. So they shouldn't get worried that, I don't have professional help. I should not venture into a competition. You may not win the first time, but once you hone your skills of editing, and another important thing is your voiceover. We tend to have a different accent. South Indians have a different accent. But even then, initially you might feel a little odd, but I don't think finally it's the scientific content that matters. If you've done an exceptional surgery, if you're showing the step very clearly, I think you still stand a very good chance at winning.
Yeah, again, very well said. Even if you don't win, if you can pass on the message for which you made, that is it. And I think Jitendra has been winning at many platforms, and they don't look to be the non-ophthalmic people doing it. So that's fine.
Number one video from Dr. Kumar, where he had made a jingle. I mean, which he professionally got it.
Yeah, he has been doing, but that's fine. That's fine. Kumar can.
I think he won an award this year as well, and that video also has a jingle. So I'm not sure if you're talking about that, but yeah, his videos are also very creative. I think we need to look at it with the movie point of view rather than only a video point of view. That is what I would like to.
That's very encouraging, that even if you don't have a great budget, even if you're not privileged to work in an institute with funds, you can still make an award-winning video. Thank you so much, Dr. Cheda and Dr. Nutan and Devyani, for an excellent.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you so much. Thank you for accommodating me. Thank you.
We'll now move on to our next speaker. I'd like to invite Dr. Ravija. Dr. Ravija Kathiara is an excellent oculoplasty surgeon. She did her fellowship from the Shankar Nethralaya, Chennai. She is currently an associate professor at the prestigious M&J Institute. She will take us through how to search and save. Over to you, Dr. Ravija.
Thank you, Dr. Purvi ma'am, for this opportunity, and thank you, Dr. Shilpi, for this kind introduction. I hope you can hear me and see the screen as well.
Yes, loud and clear.
That was really an excellent video, Dr. Devyani. We really enjoyed it. Truly award-winning. Now I'm going to talk on something different. That is how to do a literature search and save it. First of all, why do we need to do a literature search? If you're working on a dissertation research or a thesis, we want to know what already has been done or what are the lacunae in the research so far. And also when we see a rare syndrome or a rare disease in our OPD or clinics, we want to do literature search so that we can help the patient manage, so that the patient can be managed in a better way. There are various databases available for literature search such as PubMed, Embase, Cochrane, Web Science, Scopus. But the one which we commonly use is PubMed, and I'll be talking about that. PubMed is a free resource which is maintained by the National Library of Medicine, and it has over more than 30 million citations and some free articles as well. I would suggest to create an account in PubMed, but that is not necessary. An account helps us to save our searches, create alerts, and we can go back to our searches and retrieve them. Before starting a PubMed search, we should be familiar with certain basics such as what is a mesh term, what are keywords, how to use quotes, what are Boolean operators, and how to search a specific field. Mesh stands for medical subject headings. It is like a thesaurus which is used to index the records in PubMed. It gives us more specific and relevant search and helps account for variations in spellings and acronyms. Like certain authors might refer to thyroid orbitopathy as Graves' orbitopathy or thyroid eye disease. So all these would be collected together under a single mesh so that we do not miss out on these articles. The mesh database can be accessed under the Explore menu in the homepage of PubMed. This is the newer PubMed homepage which is there since May 2020. However, there are certain disadvantages with mesh, that is, new topics might not have mesh terms and it might take some time before they are applied. And there are not mesh terms for all the topics, and some records might not be indexed at all. So we might need to use keywords. Keywords are the key concepts of our research which are determined by us, and it represents how we want to discuss the topic. And it is suggested to combine both keywords and mesh terms for a comprehensive search. Like for example, if I want to search regarding canalicular injury, when I look under the mesh, there is no mesh term for canaliculus or its injury. The nearest mesh term which I get for this is lacrimal apparatus and its injuries. So when I search with canalicular injury just as its keyword, amongst the searches I will also find searches related to bile canalicular injury, which we don't need. And when I search only with the mesh lacrimal apparatus injuries, I will get nasolacrimal duct injuries as well, which also I don't need. I just want to search on canalicular injuries. So I would combine both the mesh and the keyword, that is the lacrimal injuries as well as the canalicular injuries, and then I can bring down my search to the most relevant articles that are needed. Then comes using of quotes. For example, if I want to look up for articles regarding retinal detachment, if I simply type retinal detachment, it gives me some 28,000 results. However, amongst these results, there is this result number 13, which shows retinal pigment epithelium detachment. This is not what I want to look up. The PubMed looks up for retinal and detachment as separate terminologies, and it shows up in your search. If we put it into double quotes, my results come down to some 26,000, and it would be only the relevant ones, the entire phrase of retinal detachment which I want to look up. Then there are Boolean operators and, or, and not. They must always be used in uppercase. If they are written in lowercase or not mentioned, it is replaced by default operator, that is and. Boolean operator, and as I said, is a default operator. It helps us to narrow down our search. It retrieves the result with all the search terms. And it is usually used between disparate terms or antonyms. Like if I want to know about glaucoma in cataract patients, I have to search for glaucoma and cataract. So it will only show me the literature which has both the terminologies in it and not the individual. The Boolean operator OR is used to broaden the search. It retrieves literature with at least one term. It is usually used between synonyms or similar terms such as thyroid ophthalmopathy, Graves ophthalmopathy, thyroid eye disease, so that we do not miss out on anything related to the topic. There is Boolean operator NOT as well, but it is used with caution because it excludes the retrieval of particular term from the search. For example, if I search for retinal detachment, not choroidal detachment, it will only show me articles which are regarding retinal detachment without choroidal detachment, and I might miss out on some important articles. Next are field text. The default is all fields, but we can do certain specific field search, such as we can search for the author, we can search for specific title, and this has to be mentioned under a square bracket with abbreviation, like AU means author, TI means title, TIAB means title abstract, MESH is for mesh, TW is for text word, and TA is for journal. Like for example, over here, if I want to look up for articles written by Dr. Jerry Shields, first I write the last name and then the initials, and into a square bracket I write AU. This gives me the results of all the articles written by Dr. Jerry Shields. Then once we have done the search, on the left hand side there are various filters from which we can narrow down a search. From the text, there are various options like what type of text do you want? You just want abstracts, you want full text, you want free full text, or what type of article do you want? Are you interested just in the clinical trials or the reviews? And depending on what publication dates do you want for your articles? There are additional filters also provided over there. And still further to narrow down, you can do advanced search. When you click, you go to this page where you can apply different fields to complete your search. And this can be saved and retrieved later on as well. So once you have come down and narrowed down your search, what do we do with it? We save it, or we can email it from the options provided. And we can save it to citation managers such as Mendeley, Zotero, EndNote. I'll be talking about Mendeley in a few sentences. So this is the library of Mendeley where you can save your articles. It can be full text or even abstracts. So when you're writing the paper and you want to enter the references, you just have to click at the site where you want to enter the reference and then click on Insert Citation. This will take you to Mendeley where you can search the appropriate article. Once you have found it, click on OK and the reference is added. Once you're done with the referencing, you can at the end of the article, you just have to click on Insert Bibliography, and then the bibliography comes in the correct order. You can also change the referencing style from Vancouver to American or whatever the journal wants. So this saves a lot of effort and lot of time of going back and forth and changing the references. So my take-home message is always combine keywords and MASH, incorporate Boolean operators, quotes and tag fields. Boolean operator AND is default. So if you do not write anything, it will consider as AND. Use appropriate filters to narrow down your search and take help of citation managers for your reference management. Certain resources for further reference would be there is an online PubMed training available. It is available also on YouTube. And also on the PubMed page, you can go to the user guide. Finally, practice makes search better, and you might need to run a search repeatedly before you get the relevant results. Thank you.
Dr. Shilpi, unmute yourself. You are muted.
Thank you so much, Dr. Ravija, for that crisp presentation on tips on how to do an effective literature search. I'm sure all your PG students are very lucky to have you as a teacher. And We'll now go back to Dr. Sajni. She'll tell us about designing an effective research protocol.
Shilpi, I just wanted to add one point to
Yes,
Ravija's talk. I think that was excellent. It's a very important thing because we can't conduct research or write a paper without looking for references on PubMed. There is one very nice feature in PubMed called a single citation matcher. You all can look for it, especially for those references which you do not know the full reference for. It's very helpful. With just a couple of fields, you can fill in the year, you can fill in the journal or one or two authors, and it will get you the entire citation. So that's especially useful when you're writing papers. It is a useful tool. So you can look for it, and just at the end of PubMed page, there's a thing called a single citation matcher.
That's a very useful tip. Thank you so much, Dr. Chaitra. Over to you, Dr. Sajni.
Yeah, now screen is visible and am I audible?
Yes.
Okay. So, very good evening and so sorry you have been with me for a long time. We all are a clinician managing OPDs and OTs, but during our practice, we see a lot of new things. Many of us innovate new technique, compare it with old technique. We see long-term progression of some disease as well as some drug difficulties. Now everything should be shared with our colleagues, and for that you need to present in our respective journal. So first step for presentation, the article in journal is to design an effective research protocol. So it is a document which outlines the design of a study. That means why we are performing this study. To describe its objective, means what is the reason we are performing this study, methodology, how and where we are performing the study, what is the statistical calculation we are going to perform, safety and integrity of data and participants. This is a typical standardized structure protocol which requires with certain titles. Now when I was with Dr. Vasavada, we have published one study, that is visual axis opacification rate following congenital cataract surgery in optic capture technique versus IOL implantation technique. Why I am telling this? I will share some of its study protocol for the sake of understanding in my subsequent slides. So first of all, your title should be concise and descriptive. At the same time, it should be informative, as one can include the hypothesis which is to be studied in the protocol. As for example, our title was optic capture versus in the bag post-operative outcome. So in short, a reader can find out what you are going to do in the research. Then comes the introduction. It should be straightly confined to the topic. First, it should answer what is the question and what is the importance of the topic. Then, as Dr. Ravija has beautifully narrated how to do literature review, one has to perform literature review, what has been done in the past to solve the question and what is still not answered. So finding the gap, when you compile all the literature, you will come to the end which will lead to give you purpose of your study and benefit. Like in first para, our introduction, we have shown what is the problem and why we need to overcome the problem of visual axis opacification. Then what has been done in the past, and then finally it has come what is the aim of our study. Then aim should answer what is the intention of the study and goal you need to achieve. It should emerge from the hypothesis which is logically linked and arranged. Now when you have more than one aim, it is coming under title of specific aim. Now as a clinician, we are so greedy, we want to do everything at a one stretch. But mind well, it is not advisable. You should not add too many aims, otherwise your study result will be inaccurate and it will give invalid results. Now when I am telling hypothesis, what does it mean? It means it is a scientific statement which shows correlation between two variables. It is of two types, that is null hypothesis, that means there is no difference, and another is alternative hypothesis, that means there is some difference or one is better than another. So hypothesis of our study was optic capture of IOL is as good or even better than bag in the implantation in preventing or delaying visual access obscuration. Then the main core of the protocol is methodology. Now, if you have to read only one part of the protocol, you should read methodology. That will give you strength and potency of your study. Under that, you have to choose your study design. If you select proper study design, you will get valid results. Suitable research design depends on purpose of your study. It may be cross-sectional, that means observation of one or more variable at the same time or at a given one time. When it is given at follow-up time, it's a cohort study. Then it may be case control, it may be interventional or randomized control trial where there is correlation between exposure and outcome is shown. So just for example, when you want to determine frequency and burden of disease, it may be cross-sectional or cohort study. When you want to identify the risk factor, it is a case control study. Same thing, if you want to determine the efficacy and effectiveness of new treatment, it is a clinical trial. This is just an example. You can choose your study design according to the purpose. Now, from where and who will be the participant for the study? So proper eligibility criteria, including inclusion criteria and exclusion criteria, should be defined. Now, who will be the participant? So with the help of statistician, you have to calculate sample size showing power of the sample, whether it is of 80% or 90% or whatsoever. Now, statistician cannot give you directly a sample size. You have to explain them from the previous research or your hypothesis, how many participants you are expecting. Apart from that, you also have to tell him how many participants you are estimating for loss of follow-up or refusal. Now, the most important thing is informed consent. All the participants should sign informed consent form, which is important legally. Now, what will you do for get the objective? That means proposed intervention. Full description of proposed intervention should be written, whether it is a surgical technique or drug detail or apertures whatsoever. Who will be doing this and what is the role of that person to getting that job? For that procedure, what are you going to measure? That would be your outcome measure. What are your primary outcome measure and what are your secondary outcome measure? And at what follow-up you are going to observe this outcome is your follow-up examination. This everything should be written in a pro forma so that it will be coordinated. So informed consent form is very important document in study protocol. Now, different study design require different data collection method. Like in retrospective study, you can go for checking medical records. You can structure questionnaires and interviews. If you are using some laboratory test or clinical examination, you have to describe it in detail. Now, whenever you are using instrument, validity and reliability of that instrument should be written. When it is calibrated, that should also be written. Now, when you have everything ready, it should be spread in the Excel sheet and it should be given to the statistician for further analysis. This would be done by statistician. You just have to mention what are the name of the variables you are going to compare. At the end, you have to write the limitations. That means what you are not going to achieve from this study. Work plan as Dr. Neha has suggested and budget summary, same Dr. Neha has suggested. The study should be conducted under some ethical consideration. One should not start that study until they get ethical approval. And finally, the reference, that means you are recognizing others' work. All the reference cited in the protocol or relevant to the study should be listed properly. Now, another terminology which one should know, that is protocol deviation and protocol violation. Any accidental change or non-compliance which will not harm the protocol is known as protocol deviation. On the other hand, when it is harming the study protocol, it is known as protocol violation. This is just for the knowledge when you are preparing your study protocol. So in conclusion, I would like to say It is a structure framework which guide you to clarify your research question. If your protocol is perfect, you will get valid result and you can get your article published very soon in your journal. Thank you.
Thank you, Sajni Ben. It was a wonderful presentation. So next we move on to Dr. Jitendra Jethani. Doing research and more importantly getting it published is not everyone's cup of tea. Nowadays publishing your articles has become really important because even if your research is good, but if you don't follow a proper protocol, your article will not get published. So who other than Dr. Jitendra Jethani, who is a very famous pediatric ophthalmologist and has been inspiration to many young ophthalmologists and has helped many ophthalmologists in getting their articles published. Over to you, Dr. Jitendra.
Am I audible?
Yes, yes, you're audible.
Is my screen visible?
Yes, it is visible.
So it's a fantastic day, and I would like to thank Puri ma'am, who has been my teacher also, and it's a good day to thank her because it is the Teachers' Day. I would begin with some of. Are my slides visible?
Yes, it's visible.
Okay, so before writing an article, we have to take the first step. I think Dr. Sajni has made my job easier because there is some overlap because once you have a good protocol, writing an article becomes easier because you have done some background research, you have some references, you have review of literature in your hand. But before you embark on taking the first step, you have to find out what content you have, what is the scientific content, and most important thing is that you have to ask yourself, what does it add to the existing literature? So you have multiple options. You can start with any of them. Obviously, the most easiest are photo essay and letter to editor. But if you have a good scientific content and you have a good original work, nothing like writing an original article. So before we write down, we have to find out and make a good research protocol. Wonderful lecture by Dr. Sajni. Then we have to, when we are making a research protocol, we have to write down our ideas. We have to read the relevant content. We have to sometimes, people ask, how do you find out the ideas? For finding out the ideas, you have to first find out where the current research is heading. What is your area of interest? What do you want to do? And how does it apply in your line of work? Like if I am a pediatric ophthalmologist, I have to read what is the current research in pediatric ophthalmology, what are the things which are being done. And importantly, if I am now that I am in total private practice, whether it is, what is relevant in pediatric practice, that is the most important thing, that whether it is relevant or not, because even if you publish an article, if it is not relevant to people's practice, it won't be cited much. So it won't give you a huge satisfaction that it got published. But right now we will discuss only about publishing the article. So once your background work is done and you have the research protocol, how do you actually put it in words? So to begin with, you have to understand that, you have to write the article in simple language so that your audience, and before the audience, the editor and the reviewers can understand it. So don't write, mixed sentences, big sentences, where you are trying to, add up sentences, a lot of and, it makes the sentence very complex, where the end of the sentence, we are not able to find out what was the beginning. So make short sentences in active voice, put the facts in place, and try to avoid using, when we do an original work, we want to announce it to the world that this is for the first time in the history of ophthalmology, first time in the country, first time in the state. Try to avoid it because, it doesn't seem nice that you should try to avoid these superlatives. You should be clear about what exactly you want to write and discuss. So as Dr. Sajni said, too many variables, it would make it very difficult to control the article because you have to fix the scope of the article. where your article is heading is totally under your control. And whatever information you have gathered, you try to put it as an open-minded observations and in an objective manner. See, you don't have to be biased to your research that since you have done it, it is purely perfect. You put it in the open-minded space and it would be easily acceptable. This is, I'm quoting an author who said that, vigorous writing has to be concise. A sentence should not contain any unnecessary words, a paragraph with no unnecessary sentences, and for the same reason, just like when you make a drawing, it should not have unnecessary lines which do not make up the part of the drawing. So when you are trying to present your literature review, we will take it again when we are taking the slides on discussion and conclusion. You should not try to show the reviewers that, I have read 200 articles. You just have to find out which particular articles are there which are supporting your work, and to show that, whatever you have done, it actually goes ahead of what has already been done, and how that your particular work adds on to what has already been published. And if many authors have explored the topic, you try to explain how your work brings a new approach, how your work puts a new perspective to the whole research which has already been published. Also, a literature review places your study within a larger body of work. So your whole work becomes part of the already existing literature. So you have to find out which particular gap it is filling. See, we don't publish just because to increase the number of publications. We have to understand the gap, the interest that we are trying to fill in the entirety. Abstract normally, so there are two kind of authors. There are some people who write abstract first and then the article. I would say that you should write the abstract in the end, because at that point of time you know what the whole article is about. An abstract is like an advertisement of your article. So it is after discussion and conclusion, it is perhaps the most important part of your article, because it takes care of the entirety of the article. It introduces the article, because if somebody is interested in reading the article, the first thing that person reads is the abstract. Sometimes, I have to my credit a lot of rejections from the journals, and sometimes I have seen that reviewers have just read the abstract and they have not rejected, but they have put it in the revision just on the basis of abstract, which is not right from the reviewer's point of view. I'm not defending them, but I'm saying that abstract has to be concise, but at the same time, abstract has to give important information as to what is to be expected inside the article. You have to use your keywords. You have to tell about what is different in your whole study. So the key point is, what is your research doing with the existing literature? What is your place in the entire gamut of whatever research is going on? Introduction, you should never try to repeat the words of abstract. Obviously, this is meant to start the topic of the article. So you have to try to think why people should read this article, why it should get published, what has already been done in a single line. And normally, what I was taught by my seniors was, or my teachers was, that last line of the introduction normally would reveal what is different in your study. So when you're writing an introduction of an article, the last line of the introduction, before materials and methods will start, you have to write what exactly we expect in that particular article. So then we can talk about materials and methods. I personally think, as a reviewer also, I think materials and method is extremely important. It has to be very precise, because for me materials and methods is very, very important. They should not be, because most of the reviewers can find holes in your study only when they read materials and methods. And most of the reviewers, they are just looking whether the materials and method is concrete or not. It is very important that you write every single detail, and you have to be very precise when you write your methodology. And this can be done only when you have already made a protocol. If there is a protocol deviation, if there is a violation of protocol, if your work, if you have done a RCT and there have been patients who are not taken by, see, all those small things are very important. All those things come in materials and method. The order of whole workup, how the patient was treated, what was done and what was not done, whether a placebo was used as a control, not used as a control, whether it was a case control study. if you are describing a surgery, if sometimes, because of the want of words, we don't want to write the whole thing, then you have to give a appropriate reference as to this particular surgical technique was used and this has been described elsewhere. So you have to reference it, but do not mention anything else in materials and method. But I think materials and method is one of the key part of your entire study, and that comes mainly with from an effective protocol if the protocol has been generated. So that is regarding materials and methods, and after that will come the results. I think results is, you just pour your data basically. So we come to another important part. One of the most important part is discussion and conclusion. We have to be very good, very informative, and put your best writing thoughts into discussion and conclusion, because these are the final sections which would actually you are trying to defend your article in discussion. What you are trying to say is that this is the body of research, this is the entire research work which has already been done, and here I am, and here I present my findings. Vis-a-vis, I compare it with other studies, and so it becomes very important that what is new in your article, what new knowledge, because every reviewer, every editor wants to publish an article which is filling a gap in the existing knowledge, because that is how they are impacted. Their journal will come up only if your particular article is cited. So for their own interest, the article has to fill the gap, knowledge gap, which is available in the current literature. So you try to fill in most current articles which are published. Don't overlook articles which are published in last 1 or 2 years, because they are very, very important. Referees would also, they also have softwares, they also go on PubMed and they do a search what is already available and what has been published on the same topic. And they are often critical of the literature reviews that cite only older articles, because they say that, this has already been, if some area of research has already been published 20 years back and has not been taken up, it shows that there is not much juice in it. So try to cite recent articles. Most important thing, as a reviewer, I have seen that a lot of times people write conclusion and the conclusion is actually borrowed from some other study. In a couple of articles which I reviewed, there were references in the conclusion. Do not make that mistake. See, if a reviewer wants to accept your article's conclusion is taken from another article. So there's no point in publishing your article, because your conclusion is already borrowed from other article which has already been published. So we don't want to increase the literature across the world. We want the original work to come up. So your conclusion should be from your work. Always remember, as Dr. Sadni said, that you have to conclude from whatever variables you have taken into consideration. Don't go ahead and try to be greedy and make megalomanious conclusions that from our study this also we can conclude this and this, which has not been part of the study. So you have to be very precise in your conclusion that from this particular data we found this, and this is what leads to our conclusion. So that is very, very important. Now the point is that once you finish writing your article, your worries or once you write your article, the actual point or the actual hard work starts from there. First and foremost thing is, when you've written the first draft, don't think that is your best work. Never be satisfied with the first draft. It would be very tempting. You would feel that, I cannot do better than this. My first case report was with Dr. Dhananjay Shukla. I remember I personally wrote 12 drafts of a case report. It was in Retina, but I wrote 12 drafts before he said that now he would actually take a look on it. So that's how you can never be satisfied with the first draft. You have to take a very careful look at your own article. Look for any confusing lines where you feel that reviewers may try to raise a question, or readers may not be able to understand it. Any line which needs more development or more expansion, you can do it. You should be a critical judge of your own article. So you have to revise your work, revise it again, and then do some more editing. Look for any new material which is coming up. There are options now in journals where article in press, you can see those articles in press. Ask any of your colleague to read it for you before you submit for publication. That helps a lot, because this is a fresh pair of eyes. They would see for it whether they are able to understand or not. So for me, I give it to my wife, because I have a pretty mind in house. But you can look for your colleagues and never try to be your own proofreader. It's a very difficult job, and it is not very easy to look for your own small errors, your own typos. So keep the article for a few days, read it again to have a different view, to have a fresh perspective. Most important thing I feel is that you should look for any plagiarism. Even if it is unintended, you may be quoting somebody, you have to book a reference, you cannot quote anybody verbatim, you have to look for any signs of plagiarism, even unintended, we should check for it. And finally, choosing the journal. How do you choose the right journal? Sometimes I cannot, some basic things are that I cannot, as a pediatric ophthalmologist, as a squint surgeon, I cannot publish in retina. Those are basic things, but still the relevance of journal, cost of publishing that. There are few journals which would charge a fee for publication. Even if they don't charge a fee for publication, there can be cost of colored photographs, like American Journal of Ophthalmology. There are a lot of journals who charge for colored photograph. Indian Journal of Ophthalmology charges a very minimal amount, but they do charge for colored photographs. Also, you should see how much is the time taken for review. Like some of the journals are really quick. And then if your article has got published, how much time they are going to take for publication. So how much time it would take to come in print, and what exactly is the impact factor. I won't go into details of what exactly is impact. An impact factor is how much visible or how much cited you are. But then these two things are important. One is free access, whether your article will have a free access, which means that even if a user is not subscribing to the journal, whether he can read that journal. Or second thing is how much is the impact factor of the journal. Like Graphes Archives of Clinical and Experimental Ophthalmology, I feel it's a wonderful journal because it does not charge you for colored photographs. But then it doesn't have a free access. You need a subscription for that. It's a high impact factor, does not charge for cost of, it doesn't even cost for publishing of articles. But then it has a high impact factor, but it doesn't have a free access. So your article won't be visible to masses, but only to people who are having a subscription of Graphes. Similar to that, you can find out the right journal, and then once you have submitted the article, remember it is not going to go through in the first instance. And you can see that this particular slide is the most congested slide because revisions and reviewers, they're one of the most difficult ones to deal, but not impossible. So when you're getting it back from the revision, from the reviewers, don't try to fight with the reviewers. Do not respond to reviewers' feedback as soon as you get it, because sometimes in the gist of our thing, we may try to fight with them, or we may put up our excuses. Read it, think about it, discuss it with others, and then draft a response. It is acceptable to challenge a referee only if you have a good justification. Or you can just write that these were my findings. Most of the editors would accept a rational explanation, especially if it is considered that you have considered the feedback, accepted some of their points. So you have to be good with the reviewers. So it is often, it's said like it is often better to fix an identified problem in your own way rather than in the exact. So when the reviewer is saying that you should do this, accept that you want to fix this particular sentence, but don't fix it as they have said it, because it is your article. You know it much better than the reviewer. So acceptance that you have to fix the lines or fix the article or fix the hypothesis or fix the data, it should be there, but you have to fix it in your own way. So you should always be prepared to revise and resubmit. No matter how tired you are of the article, you may have grown by this time. You should not give up at the prospect of working or giving more time to it. See, you have done the hard work. You have already done a lot of hard work in setting up a protocol, doing a study, writing up the article, choosing the right journal, submission. You've gone through the references, legends, figures, and whatnot. So you should not let your efforts go to waste after you have done all the hard work. And so you should be incorporating the guidance from the referees. You should always understand that these are your peers, and the thoughts and suggestions of peers actually make your article much more stronger. So even if the article is rejected by one of the journals, you get key points, key messages from your peers. You can make it better. So that is all from my side. Thank you very much and have a great weekend. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Dr. Jitendra, for that wonderful and comprehensive presentation on how to get your article published in this competitive world. And thank you for sharing your real life experiences. As I said, it was very comprehensive. However, I would like to invite the panelists if they want to add anything. Dr. Noor, Dr. Chaitanya.
Dr. Tejas here.
Yes,
Just
please.
a very quick one. Yeah, Jitendra as usual was very thorough. His presentation itself was an article, right? The only thing is that whatever said and done, 99 out of 100 people are only going to read the abstract and the conclusion. So you should be very, very particular about what you write and what you mean. Whatever said and done, but absolutely people read only the abstract. They hardly read methods, and then they go to the conclusion, and that's it, because everybody is like surfing the net, surfing the channels, and surfing the articles. Jitu, awesome. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Tejas.
Thank you, sir.
Now I'd like to invite Dr. Priya Desai. She's our next speaker. She is a cornea and refractive surgeon at Desai Group of Eye Hospitals, Baroda. She did her cornea fellowship from Dr. Agarwal's Eye Hospital and further did her DMEC training under Dr. Rajesh Fogla. Apart from being a good clinician and academician, she is a passionate dancer, and she is associated with an NGO which develops dancing skills in differently able kids. That's fantastic. So let's hear from her how to read an article between the lines. Over to you, Dr. Priya.
So I'm going to ask the favorite question of 2020. Am I audible?
Yes.
Okay. And is my screen visible?
Absolutely.
Okay. Thank you so much, Dr. Shilpi, for that wonderful introduction. And I would like to thank WOS and Dr. Purvi for fitting me into this amazing amalgamation of collection of talks. And much has been already covered. And I'm going to now take us through a very basic concept on, you know, when you open up an article in a journal, how much do you want to go ahead and read it, or how much do you want to just close that page and probably move to the next page or change your journal for that matter? So why do we need to read an article in the first place? Okay? Do you want to get updated in a particular field of study? Do you want to look for a solution for a particular problem, as in when you see a title which is correlating to something that you've been trying to look for, and you think you can probably get your answers through reading this article? To know about the cause, clinical features, or progress of a particular disease, to get an idea. So basically, if I would want to write an article, I think the first thing I would do is pick up a lot of journals and pick all those articles and go through them, read them, and probably I will have an idea of how to write wonderful articles, or probably just listen to Dr. Jethani's talk once and have an idea of how to write an article, or to get an idea how to carry out your research work. Or probably I'm just browsing through a journal and the title looks very interesting to me, so I go ahead and decide to read it. Or maybe it's relevant to my routine practice, or it's got very good colorful pictures for that matter. Article is in a reliable journal, a journal which I always read, I'm very fond of, then I'll probably go ahead and read all the article. And probably because I read all the articles, so I decide to read this one as well. So I'm not going to go much into detail of how many articles we have, what types of articles we have, because we're running short of time anyways. So I'll straight away jump on to what are you looking for? Okay, are you looking for an idea for research? Then you should be focusing on reading more of research articles. Are you trying to look for treatment, or some disease or some diagnosis that you have been confused on how to treat, and you think you're probably going to get your answers here? Then you look for the reviews, proceedings. Or if you want to just get yourself upgraded or updated about a particular specialty, then you go ahead and read your narrative reviews. So what are our reading patterns? Every individual has a reading pattern. And I think the most important or the most commonest is just go ahead and read the conclusion. So you have an idea of whether you want to go ahead and spend all your time reading that entire article. Read abstract, and if you find it very interesting, you go ahead, otherwise you just close the page. Everything except statistics. Statistics is still a horror to a lot of people, and they don't want to go into detailed reading of stats, which I think personally is one of the most important portions of an article. Read a full article, and there are those who read full articles as well as their references. So we do know that an article is divided into various topics: the title, the abstract, the introduction, the material and methods, the results, the discussions, and the references. I'm not going to go into detail of all this, because I'm going to cover them individually as well. So at first glance, what is everybody's reaction when they go ahead and read an article? See, at first glance, a journal article might appear very intimidating or confusing, or you might just end up seeing some graphs and you feel that, okay, I thought that this title will help me out, but I don't think that reading through is helping me out. Or sometimes reading a research article can be frustrating, especially for those who are not used to reading articles. You know, there's some languages that you don't understand or some literature that probably you're not used to. Then there is, just like there is a method to extract a tooth or prepare a cavity, there's also a methodology of how to read and interpret an article. So this is a very basic chart, if you see very carefully, that this is where it all starts and summarizes, that if there is a title related to the topic that I'm looking for, does it have the keywords that I'm looking for or what I have in my mind? No? Okay, fine. Skip the article, go to the next. If yes, then read the abstract, read the summary, read the conclusion. Does it help me? Does it have clear-cut aims and objectives or well-defined research hypotheses and other conclusions very precise? Okay. If yes, then is the above or useful or relevant article the one that I'm actually looking for? If no, then again you skip the article. If yes, then read the entire article. So this is like a basic layout on how you can go about. An article is all about reading, interpreting, and learning. So if you go to a title, you know, like all us moviegoers, we're so fond of movies, and you know, whenever we want to go for a movie, we're very fond of what the title is, you know. So a title attracts of an article. A good article will also inform you what it is, what the entire paper is all about, what you're expecting to see down the line in the further parts of the article. And the most important thing, I think, is that a title should be descriptive and self-explanatory. At least when I read the title, by that time I should have a vague idea of what I'm going to read through. Abstract. So, you know, an abstract basically I think is very important as well, because it helps us to decide whether you want to read the entire article or not. If all of you must be very well aware that most of the PubMeds and all these sites, you know, they have free of cost abstracts. So, you know, if you like the abstract, go ahead, purchase the article, go and read the article. So that's the importance of an abstract, that you probably have the idea of, or the summarization of the entire article that is going to come to you after that. Most scientific journals now have a very structured abstract. You know, they have everything. They have the title, they have the material methods with separate subheadings, so that it's like a quick revision of, okay, this is what I'm expecting to see. And the best part is there's usually a restriction of words in abstract writing. So you have limited words, so it's very precise. You don't have, you know, any stories or anybody beating about the bush, and you're not getting the exact idea of what you want to read. I also feel that an abstract answers certain very fundamental questions, as in, okay, this is what I'm looking for, probably I'm going to find out here. Okay, this is not what I'm looking for, let me skip this article. So the reader should make, I feel that, you know, once you go ahead and read an abstract, make a few questions, jot probably 5 or 10 questions after you read an abstract, and then try to look for the answers of those questions in the article itself. So introduction, usually the section usually starts with existing knowledge or any other research topic. So you're trying to introduce of what you're going to talk about and set up an entire background of what the article which is going to follow is going to be like. And the aim, the main aim and the objective of conducting a particular study usually is mentioned at the end of the introduction, which I guess probably is very important. And the reader should also determine whether a research hypothesis was stated and later checked, and whether it was answered or not under the discussion. So, you know, when you go down there to your discussion, probably you should come back to your introduction and go ahead and read whether the questions you had put once you started reading the article, were all of them answered or not. Material and methods are all the technical details, and personally, if you ask me, that material and methods are the skeleton of the article. They are the most important section. They will give us the number of subjects we've included, the inclusion, exclusion criteria, the categorization, what sampling methods we have used, the entire data collection. And when we talk about material and method, followed by results. So that's exactly what we're expecting after you know that, okay, this is the study that was planned, this was done, these are our subjects, this is what was studied, and now the results. So the results are going to tell us precise details of the data collected. Here we're not talking about any hypothesis. Here we're talking about things that we have inferred from the study that we have done after all these efforts. So Results are the most reliable segment of your entire article. And an important aspect is to check if all the subjects are present in the result. You know, sometimes you see that, okay, the result has got a distribution of 100 patients for which a particular study was done. And then you go back to the abstract and you go ahead and confirm that, okay, this was a study that was done for 100 particular patients for this particular disease. And whether the results are statistically significant. So, you know, we're all always very stuck to hang on to the p-value, how statistically significant. So one question that always comes to my mind when I read the results is whatever statistically significant is going to be clinically significant to me? But I think the answer is no, that it could be statistically significant, but it does not have to be clinically significant. So we should not try to, you know, impose our clinical findings onto the statistical findings. These are just results of what we have studied in our article or what we have studied in our particular paper. So I'm not going to go into the detail of stats, but I think that, you know, we have a habituation of just turning the stats paper away that, you know, okay, statistics, okay, let it be. But I think if you have a clear understanding of statistics, reading an article becomes very simple, and it's just homework. You just need to read about it and it becomes very clear even when you're trying to write an article yourself. Why is this very important? Because this is the place where you're looking for all the answers of the questions that you put up initially. We are going to see the results of our study. We're going to compare it with the other studies and see how effective we think that our study is. Ideally, no new data is presented in the discussion. It is just the data that have been collected so far in the article, which are just emphasized for the reader to have a clear-cut idea of what they have been reading. In addition, we also have certain strengths and limitations or shortcomings of the study, which it's good to declare because that will initiate more questions into our mind or the mind of the reader of, okay, this is the question I've not got an answer to, so let me go ahead and look for these answers somewhere else. The meaning of results, their analysis, new theories, hypotheses, limitations of studies, explanation of differences and similarities between this particular study, a lot of studies which are like these studies. And this will basically open up an avenue for us on further research as well. And the author's interpretation. Has the author really been able to tell you what they're actually trying to, you know, tell us with this article? Have they made it really clear? Okay, this is my hypothesis and this is what I'm trying to bring out to you is very important. And finally, the conclusion. It has become very mandatory for a scientific literature to be informed, ever expanding information. Now we are probably looking at articles for every smallest thing we don't understand. And initially when article reading was started, I don't think it was that important as it is right now. And there are lots of journals, lots of articles, and it is important to read these articles for a rapid, purposeful, effective, and useful reading because we will have an idea of where we stand when we read the articles. A simple but efficient and logical approach to scientific literature has been presented here for choosing articles and reading them systematically and effectively for a better understanding. I don't know if I have, but I hope I've made myself clear that reading between the lines is basically trying to look for an answer to your question, Mark. Thank you. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you so much, Dr. Priya, for that informative lecture. And it's really nice listening to your talks always. Looking at the time, can we have a quick comment from our panelists?
I believe let Chaitra comment on this because I would rather comment on Priya's FB post rather than a talk on the.
Just
each and every.
I knew that was coming.
Friend of Dr. Priya on the Facebook, and you're going to learn a lot.
Dr. Chaitra had to leave for another webinar, so
if there are no more comments, let's move on to the next presentation. So in post-graduation, when we want to start presenting or when we want to, you know, make our presence felt in conferences, the easiest way is paper and poster presentation. So that is how you start getting recognition at the conference level. And if you win that poster or a paper, it really boosts your confidence. So today we have with us Dr. Rita Gangwani, who is a retina consultant at Ahmedabad Laser Eye Center, who will be speaking about Make Your Poster Win. So over to you, Dr. Rita.
It's starting now. Is my screen visible?
Yes, ma'am, your slide is visible. Just make the slide show.
Good evening, everyone. First of all, I would like to thank everybody, WOS and Dr. Puri, particularly for inviting me at this seminar. So I won't take too much time. So my topic today is making your poster win. Basically, scientific poster is a visual presentation. It consists of all the common things that we write in the paper, but in a different manner, like introduction, methods, results, conclusions. Importantly, we need to write acknowledgements, financial interests, and conflicts of interest. We need to understand that this is not the place where we dump everything that we have done as a research for the particular topic. But we need to be very concise, and we want to present in a shorter manner whatever we have found. So we normally use bullets and short phrases. It's important to avoid lengthy text. Graphs would be better than tables, and tables and text to communicate the key points. Now, most of the readers read the title, fewer will read the abstract, and yet fewer read the entire poster. So the recommended fonts are as follows, and the font size, the title should be in a larger size so that you can see it from a distance. The body usually 20 to 24 point. There are certain things which we consider for do's and don'ts. So it should be self-explanatory, visually appealing. It's important to use high quality photos and simple graphics. Bar charts and line graphs are important than tables, and it's important to use color more practically rather than using too many colors. In don'ts, we avoid the paragraphs. It's important to avoid too much detail and unnecessary images. And yes, well, in case if you come across a photograph and you want to use it as a background, please refrain from doing so because it's actually distracting rather than more attractive. Now, there are going to be two groups of people who are going to read the article. First is those who are interested in the bottom line, and the second are those who are working in the area and are interested in all the details. So interested in the subject, they will want to see what you found, why is it useful, and whether the research question has been answered. We have to make a poster in a way that the reader is able to get all the information in 3 to 5 minutes time. And if you're going to present it, for example, when you're presenting at American Academy, we're given a time slot where you're going to be near your poster. So the results should be so concise that you're going to present everything in 3 sentences. Now, for those who are working in that, who are looking for the poster, so that they're working in that particular area and interested in all the details, they would want to go through the entire poster, which should be done in 10 minutes. So you should be able to keep everything concise so that the reader is able to scan visually everything and get the gist of it in 10 minutes. So basically what matters is contribution to the field, methods, validity of data, methods and results, and the clarity, style, and presentation. What do judges see? They see the significance, how significant or relevant is your topic, originality, the clarity of presentation, the methods. That is important. That is where everything is dependent upon, when it's going to get accepted. Appropriate study design, statistical method, and complicated statistical methods are not necessary. Now the impact. Do the figures, graphs convey what is needed? And during the interview, you need to be really prepared how you're going to present the talk.
take-home messages, normative findings, effective communications, methodology which is easy to follow, and results which are easily understood. I would like to add one important thing here. If you're going to make your poster more attractive, you need to add one significant thing. What is its clinical and scientific impact? And if the poster was easily understood and conveyed the message through a rapid screening by your visual memory, then you get a higher mark to it. Now, I've been working in Hong Kong for 19 years. I would like to acknowledge my academic team in Hong Kong. And these are few references in addition to the sites where you go to get an idea about this. Before I conclude my talk, I would like to add something to what Dr. Virat said today. It's the joy and happiness. So in addition to what we as a Women Ophthalmological Society are looking at, balancing work, career, family, and stagnancy in careers like during delivery time and some other aspects of life, it's important that we also spend some time on our self-reflection, focus on something like gratitude and small joys of life, and energize ourselves, energize our time being women in the stream of ophthalmology. So I would not take too much time, but just I want you to go through this Heartfulness site, heartfulness.org, to get more details of all what is important in our life in addition to work, career, and everything else that we need to have a fuller life. Thank you very much.
Very well said, Dr. Rita. And thank you for a wonderful presentation, very precise on how to make an award-winning poster. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
We'll move on to our next talk, which is by respected Dr. Preeti Kapadia Gupta. Madam is a professor and ethics department at the Government Medical College, Surat. She is an additional medical superintendent.
Dr. Smita, you need to mute yourself. Dr. Smita?
Yeah, sure.
You need to mute yourself.
All right. So, Madam is an additional medical superintendent at Surat. Despite all these responsibility, what's most striking is she's a passionate medical educator. She did her PhD in education and is involved in curriculum development for undergraduate and postgraduate medical students to inculcate in-depth learning. So let's hear from Madam as to how to be podium smart. Over to you, Preeti ma'am.
Thank you so very much. Wish you a very happy Teachers' Day, everyone. And you know, when Purvi calls me up for a talk, Purvi, can you hear me? Because I can see your eyes going here and there. So, you know, when she calls me that, ma'am, you have to talk about podium smart, and I started thinking about all this electronically smart podiums. You know, you see Amitabh Bachchan sitting in front of a podium and kind of, you know, they have this, they deliver the multimedia presentation, and, you know, there are this two-way interaction between presenter and audience, and you have an extraordinary learning experience. You feel, oh my God, the technology so heavy. You have those speakers and you have the response technology. And Purvi, here am I, you know, in front of, I mean, to be a smart at podium, Purvi, I need surely your feedback when I complete this. If I'm a failure, then it's your choice that you selected me. So, like, you know, what I feel is you have to be a confident orator. You know, that comes with a very good preparations. You know, preparations we all do, we feel that, oh, we always prepare. I have made a very perfect PowerPoint presentations and added some audio visual clips in it. And I want somebody to see that picture and so colorful. And I have completed the whole topic in my PowerPoint presentations. And, you know, I'm going to teach my undergrads and, you know, I don't need preparations. No. that's not, what you want to be a rather stylish or, kind of impressive speaker who imparts knowledge. So, you have to have some typical unique ideas other than what your teachers taught you, or kind of, you want to make some good message to this world of social media savvy population, Tell me which topic is not covered in your YouTube, or let's say some kind of newsmakers in your like Facebook, like, when they just told that I'll meet Priya Desai on kind of YouTube or Facebook, that, you all get all these kind of information where you need to stand something unique that people hear you. Isn't that true? So, I was just remembering one of my undergrad lecture that I had to make them understand uveitis. For a postgrad, it is fine. Uveitis, they learn a lot. But for an undergrad, like, I was thinking what to do. And what I did was, I wanted them to go through one book person, because, they go through Qurana, these, that, and they are good books, but I wanted them. So what I did was, I got Xerox of so many copies of 2 pages of uveitis from Parson. In my 150 students class, I just, distributed 4 rows, some 15 copies of, one is kind of classification or etiology and diagnosis and treatment, which are 4 things I wanted them to learn. I told them that I'm giving you 15 minutes. And 15 minutes, all the rows, be prepared with the topic you are going to teach me. And amazingly, they all sat and, they were kind of 15 minutes ready. And when I started my PowerPoint with a topic, the whole 4 rows answered everything. And it was so amazing that when I got, ma'am, with the pictures only on your PPT, we learned quite a good knowledge, achieved a knowledge of uveitis. So have unique idea. Always relate the crowd in. Like, you don't want to be a person who regurgitate everything and, you want that I have given all up-to-date information from basic to complex and I've done my job. Now, they will read and they will prepare. So it's something like when I'm orating a medical educationist or ophthalmologist or maybe some hobby ideas, I have to make my things simple, take them to complex. Or a complex thing, if some orator is speaking on podium, has to make it simple. So not only that, you have to be a kind of, charismatic person. And how do you achieve that? That, even it is a 200-person students class or 1,000 participants for all India conferences, and, you kind of have to manage eye contact with everyone. Voice modulation, somebody already told, is very important. They don't want to hear somebody who with a mask-like face speak in one similar tone, and the whole topic or 60 minutes goes like that in a person without any verbal or non-verbal cues. That people don't like. Dressing, I feel that it has an importance. We all like somebody, who's dressed up so well, right? So that's a very, very important, and correct hand gestures. You don't have to, kind of somebody says that it's good to have that, you do it. No, when you want to emphasize something or you want to relate something or you want to draw something, those are very important. As I told you, verbal and non-verbal cues both are very important. People don't like to hear you, as I told you, with mask face. They really want that, you either talk like, I always say my students, I think Dr. Neha would always say, she's a student, I'm happy to see you, Neha, that, I don't have a habit of standing at podium. I just walk around the classroom and kind of maybe I insult the podium, but that's the way I have always felt. You always have to be open to questions. When you mean open to questions, you actually are a person with a thorough knowledge standing in front of the crowd, which makes you very confident. And, it's something like when people are very shy to ask questions, what you can do is, come on, now it's your turn. And in your PPT, you kind of have a summary sort of thing that what you've taught they would speak on. This happens in our conferences also, that when you are dealing with some complicated topics, we do want, if it's a small crowd, that everyone has got the message. It has to be very short and simple, right? What we called as, like when you actually have been through either a coach or a delegator or a consultant or some fellow or a PG student. So to be the best, it's something like I heard Dr. Ram Nayan, he told that, amongst us, we have one category called as regurgitators. Like regurgitators are the one who vomits out everything, whatever they know. So, ultimately the class doesn't enjoy. Few of us are obfuscators. Obfuscators actually confuse us. You go back home and you read the same topic or something which you heard in the class or you feel, oh my God, he was so, have to be a true facilitator. So true facilitator is the one who achieves the objectives of his or her oration, topic, mentoring, anything. So ultimately, it's something like alcohol, when, this NEET classes were going on, that you have to prove yourself to be a best saleswoman and salesman when you are at the podium for the thousands of students in front of you, that you have to have knowledge, style, personality, sense of humor, because when you are orating for 8 hours for a NEET class, it's something which you actually need a lot. So it's what I always say, that whenever you begin, you want to be a good orator, you feel that you really want to improve, you have to unlearn and relearn that how do I make my orations, my lectures and my mentoring sessions so very interesting. So I already talked about this true facilitator who is a winner, but it's not a smart one and not your PowerPoint slides. Let people not read the slides, let people look at you, let people hear you. And the best thing, one of my famous kind of mentor used to tell that he has never used PowerPoint presentations for any of his subjects, topics, whatever he orated. So that's, I think, the best which we can achieve for a smart orator. So preparation and practice are the key to success. Thank you so very much for your kind attention. I hope I have kept the time.
Madam, I had made the perfect choice for you for this talk.
I agree with you, Dr. Purvi ma'am. What a charismatic presentation, madam. Really nice.
I would just like to add 3 simple tips. Like Preeti said,
sure,
on time. So you should finish on time. That's the first thing. But before that, you should not fumble when you start. A well begun is half done. So you should not be fumbling. You should be ready with your presentation and videos and embed and whatever not. And the second thing is you should be interactive. You should just not narrate a story. Try to involve the audience. You can just in between ask a couple of questions. You can just try to catch their attention, especially in the sessions after lunch. So these are my 3 tips for a quick review of presence on the podium. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Dr. Tejas.
Thank you, Tejasvi. Now I'd like to invite our next and the last speaker for the day, Dr. Smita Dheer. She's a senior consultant at Okura Eye Care and Research Center, Ahmedabad. She's a cataract and glaucoma specialist. During her 20-year-long career, she's done enormous amount of clinical work, and she's also obtained diploma in hospital and healthcare management from Symbiosis, Pune. So she'll tell us about working hard and working smart. Over to you, Dr. Smith.
I'm not able to share the screen.
I think Dr. Preeti madam, you need to stop sharing. Preeti madam? Her screen is still shared.
The moderator can unscreen her.
I don't think we can.
Yeah, he can. The host can.
Yeah, the host can. There we go.
ये बंदा क्योंकि यही है ना हाँ ओके चेंज नहीं होना प्रेजेंटेशन कोई ना जैसे तो Hi, everybody can hear me?
Yes.
All of you can hear me?
Yes,
Yeah. Thank you so much for being patient, and I think I'll do justice to this last talk. So just let's all get up to work hard and work smart. So first of all, let's just stretch ourselves after 2 hours of long sessions and interesting sessions. So for me, working hard is working intelligent. Basically, smart work is working intelligence. You have to just keep working and making things easier for you as you move ahead in your journey. And how do we do that? You know, I'm going to take a very, very different perspective to this. See, I'm 40 plus now, and with my own life, what I have learned is first you got to know yourself. You know what happened in the race to succeed? We're always running, you know, and we're always wanting to pursue people who are successful, follow their path, but we really don't realize who are we at core. You know, are we a clinician at core, or are we an academician, or we a practitioner, or we have little bit of all. So as a person, if you realize this very early in life, that what you want to become and what you portray yourself to be and what are your core values, it could further lead us to grow more in life and be smarter at our work and be more focused. So what is the purpose of your life? Like, what do you want to be? What do you want to become? What do you want to see yourself when you are like aging, when you're at 50? That we are not able to realize when we are younger, and especially with women, because, you know, when in our formative years, we are mostly entangled in our professional life, in our personal lives, in our marriage and childbirth and motherhood. And that's where we lose the purpose of our life. And we just are, you know, beating around the bushes or running after successful people. And that is where we go wrong. So we got to see our strengths and our limitations. What are our strengths? Are we good speakers? Are we good clinicians? Are we good surgeons? What are we good at? Just find that out. And limitations, mind you, people call it limitations, but they can be our strengths. Our family can be our strengths. So we can work in our limitations. Giving time to our children, cooking at home is not a limitation. It is an asset to us. So let's not consider them as limitations, but of course keep working on our strengths. And one day we would definitely succeed and achieve what we want to be. We would become smarter, and we are all smart. That's why we are doctors and we are doing so well in our lives. Now, what do we mean by managing our energy? You know, we all are physics students. We have studied physics till grade 12, aren't we? So what physics tells us, energy can neither be created nor destroyed, but it can be changed from one form to another. So what is it? Are we directly, just ask ourselves a real question, are we directing our energies in the right way? Are we really doing it, or are we thinking about useless things and wasting our energy? Arey, usne kya bol diya, that person is not talking good about me, my employer is not happy with me. We have to just set small goals and prepare for the big ones. And where we go wrong, most of us as human beings and as women, that we are, our values and alignments, our values are not aligned with our goals. What does that mean? You know, what we are inside, we should try to be outside, and we should try to achieve that. Not not follow a herd mentality where people are trying to do things. Look, if I go to the podium, I speak well, I'm successful. It's not like that. You've got to identify yourself, who you are. If you are an introvert person, you don't wish to go on the podium and sit and do research at home, that's equally good. That is acceptable. So just identify your goals, identify who you are, and where your values and goals get aligned, that is where you become smart and you become successful. And prioritize value with your purpose. And then comes motivation. We all are extremely hardworking people, and that is why where we are today, we stand today as doctors and ophthalmologists. So what is motivation? Motivation is working hard towards what we actually want. But before that, we should know what we want. So identify yourself, manage your energy, work hard towards purpose which gives you satisfaction. So again, the same thing what I'm trying to justify is working smart doesn't mean working less. It means working hard on what truly matters to us. Now, to find out what truly matters to us is totally up to us. So often people are working hard at wrong things. Working on the right things is probably the most important thing than working hard, right? And that's what effort is important. But knowing where to make an effort will make a difference, because we keep wasting our times on some things which are not at all important, or we consider them important because somebody else is telling us that they are important. Be responsible for your own life, be smart enough to pursue your own goals, and don't listen to anyone. So again, when we climb up the ladder in our career and our successes, so what is it? See, we cannot give up on the core values. Skill is the most important thing as surgeons and as clinicians we should be acquiring. And once we have acquired skill, then we should be honest towards ourselves, as towards our patients, towards our employees, towards our community. And then comes motivation, where we really want to achieve something because we know what we want to achieve. And communication, yes, it has been hyped by social media. We'll discuss it later. And upgradation, yes, we have to keep improving. We have to be a constant learner. And that is what is our life about. Every day we have to get up with a wow and say, wow, I learned something new. I have made some new difference in this world. So what do smart people do generally? Smart people learn from everything and everyone, and average people learn from their experiences, and stupid people always have the answers. So you've got to be a constant learner. You've got to learn from everyone. And when we are here in the podium, each and every person had something to tell us, and it's for us to grasp it. And for that, we should have our ego slightly lesser and be ready to listen to what people are saying. So that's what Steve Jobs said. Stay hungry, stay foolish. You have to be hungry to be successful. You have to be hungry to be smart. You have to outshine yourself, not anybody else, but yourself. And stay foolish. Let people say anything they want about you. But as far as you know, you are standing up to your convictions. Just stand for yourself. Social networking is important. I'm very bad at social networking. But for me, I personally feel that everybody is on social media and we all know how seriously we take them. So more than that, try and do that. But at the same time, develop interpersonal relationships. Respect your teachers, respect your mentors, respect your own colleagues. Work on your communication skills. When I came to Gujarat, I did not know a soul. I didn't even know Gujarati. But see, now I have so many friends in our fraternity because, I worked on them. I worked on developing relationships rather than taking advantages from them. And find a mentor. If you're a lucky person, if you have a mentor, it's great. But if you're someone like me who never had a mentor, that's still okay. You believe in yourself and work hard. So this is a picture I deliberately took. This is a typical woman, like it's me, maybe. It's most of us. We're all the time thinking and, going back in time, coming forward in time, thinking what happened, what I should have done. Maybe I did something wrong. Maybe I didn't do this rightly. And when I'm at office, I think about home. What are my children doing? Online learning platforms. What should I do? When I'm home, I'm at office, I'm thinking something else. So what do I do at this point of time? I need to develop concentration. We all need to develop concentration. It's our ability to keep awareness at one task. This is called concentration. So we got to focus on a particular thing, what we are doing, and then see the results. They'll be awesome. This is one thing, what is this picture showing? This man is taking away all our energies. Who is he? And who are they? These people are all around us. They're there everywhere and they make us feel so low. I call them energy vampires. They are really vampires. They're taking away all our energies. So please be away from such people. Please be away from people who tell you you're good for nothing or you're not going to make great in life. You will definitely do good in life if you believe in yourself. So look for positive company and surround yourself with smarter people. You will automatically become one. Be friends with your fraternity. Keep your fears and insecurities at bay. You know, you always feel, अरे मैं इसका साथ दे दूंगी तो क्या होगा मेरा? You know, ये तो आगे बढ़ जाएगी मेरे. This is such a competitive world. I have to just, you know, just climb the ladder so fast. But it's not important. It's important how good you are at the end of it. And your time will definitely come, if today or not tomorrow. And ask for help always. So this is one quote from Abraham Lincoln. He had said, if I had to 6 hours to cut down a tree, I would spend the first 4 hours sharpening the saw. That means acquire skill, acquire honesty, work hard towards your goal, have a role plan, which I never had. But this is what I have learned from my life, that just create a goal, create a role plan for you. Be ready and plan, strategize and innovate. Prepare for the moment of opportunity. What is luck? Luck is nothing but a moment of opportunity. When the moment of opportunity comes, one has to take it and be smart to take it. These are the different roles we portray. Actually, I was looking for some model to do it, but then I realized I'm the best one. So love yourself for what you are. We are teachers, we are orators, we are wives, we are surgeons, we are mothers, and we are excellent doctors, and we are fun-loving women. Just appreciate yourself for that. We are blessed with multi-world wonders and not one-role achievers. Never give up your femininity, your core values in race of becoming smart. See, we always say we are living in a man's world and we have to fight out with the men and all this, but we have our own advantages which they don't have. And I'm sure Sir is here to tell us all those things. And he would definitely say that we women are at more advantage than men. So let's enjoy our femininity. Let's continue with our core values and move ahead in life. Why not? If we are not able to come first, maybe we came second and maybe we just tried. That's okay. So at the end, I would just say, aim for a joyous and a balanced life. Be exuberant, be enthusiastic, and always wear a smile. Your day will come, and work hard and work smart and work intelligent for your own self and for the society. And thank you very much. Thank you, WS, for inviting me. And I hope we are all geared up for the long weekend ahead. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Smita, for that motivating talk. And I think we have overshoot our time by already 1 hour. So any quick comments from the panelists?
Well, I would not like to comment on a very thorough presentation. It would be an insult to the presentation. So I would all leave you with the thoughts which Smita shared. And I echo them. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
And Purvi ma'am, any comments from you?
No, I think we never realized when it was more than 2 hours. All the talks were so fascinating, so inspiring, and so very different and relevant. It's just been a wonderful evening, actually. And thanks to both of you, Dr. Shilpi and Monica, for doing a wonderful job.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you so much, Purvi, for the opportunity.
So with this, I would like to conclude this wonderful session. I would like to thank Dr. Purvi ma'am for being the backbone of this whole webinar, helping us all out, coordinating everything. I would like to thank all our speakers for such a wonderful insight into how to research and publish. I am also extremely thankful to our panelists for their wonderful suggestions and for their valuable time, especially Dr. Tejas Shah for staying with us till now. I mean, he's traveling still, he has managed to be with us. Thank you so much, sir.
You're welcome, Monica.
And I'm really thankful to our audience who joined us in large numbers with so many webinars going on, but I think ours was a different one. So we had such a large attendance. And last but not the least, I would like to thank Team Mentor for always being with us. Thank you so much.
Yes, 3 cheers to Anton because they are very well.
Yes.
And they
Thanks,
support
Mr.
also.
Raman. Yeah, thanks, Mr. Raman and Mr. Rahul Jain and Atharva. Can we go offline now?
Yeah, Rahul, we can go offline now.
Yes, ma'am. Chalo. Bye. Good night. Good night, everybody.
Bye, everybody.
Good night. Good night.
Yeah, we are offline now. We can close the meeting, Rahul.